Hello, children. Hope all of you are fine. Today, we are going to start a new lesson in economics, that is development. I welcome you all in this class of economics. Kindly listen very carefully because I'm going to discuss each and every point from your textbook and which is very important. Now, what is development? Development is a continuous process. Development means progress, improvement, prosperity, better living conditions. So everyone aspires for development, every individual. If I ask a child, if I ask you, what is your developmental goal? Maybe right now, the better education, better marks, notes of all the subjects. Similarly, an agricultural farmer, a farmer may have his own developmental goal. He may want more irrigation facilities, some subsidies by the government, better inputs. So we have seen that every individual aspire for progress. सभी को प्रोग्रेस अच्छी लगती है. Everybody wants development, and all the time people's life is revolving around that only, to achieving those goals. So if there will be a question on what is development, it means progress, prosperity, improvement in the living conditions of people. Development is a very positive growth or change in every sphere of man's life, starting from social, economic and political. Now social and economic, we are going to discuss these two in this chapter in detail. But then what is that political aspect? Yes, if last year you have read about French Revolution, Russian Revolution. Now these countries, they were not happy under the autocratic rulers and they protested to become a democratic country. The existing system was not liked by these people. So we have seen that development is a very wider concept, and if we define it, it has two aspects. Development has two aspects. One is economic development, which relates with income, the source of income. Everybody is earning money, they have some job and they want to increase their money income. So income is one of the criteria, and that is called as economic development. Second is social development, which includes education, healthcare facilities, public facilities, etc. So development is, in general, it includes all these: income, economic development and social development. Now development has three characteristic features. Let us discuss about the three characteristics of development. The very first characteristics of development is different people, different goals. I'll discuss this in detail. Let me tell you the other two. The second one is, what is development for one may not be development for other. The third one is, people look for mixed goals. Now let us take the first example, that is different people, different goals. Individual differences there. People's economic life, it also depends upon individuals' economic life, the social and economic life. Accordingly, people have their own aspiration, desires and developmental goals. Now in your book, if you see, there are categories of people here. You can see there are different categories of people, and we are going to discuss about their developmental goal. It will give you a clear idea about how different people have different developmental goals. Let us take the first example, landless rural laborer. Now, who are landless rural laborers? They are the laborers who doesn't have their own land, but they work on others' land. So when they work on others' land, they are exploited, they are given less wages, they may not be treated well. So what can be their aspirations? Their aspirations will be more number of days, more days of work, better wages, then better schools, at least local school for their children, and there should not be any discrimination. Now, what is discrimination? We call it bhedbhav in Hindi. So people, that is, everybody wants that they should be respected, they should not be discriminated in the society. So these people, generally the poor people, the people living below the poverty line, they feel that they are also discriminated in the society. So that can be his aspirations. Now we quote another example. Let us take another example. Suppose a businessman, a very rich industrialist or businessman, what can be his aspirations? His aspirations will be that if the government can give him electricity at a cheaper rate, he can also have aspirations of that if the government can reduce his taxes. So it depends upon the category of people, the aspirations and desires. Let us take another example, a boy from a rich family. Now rich family matlab, he knows that his parents are having enough money, so he has all desires of the new electronic gadgets which have come in the market. So every day he may demand one or the other thing from his parents, and that can be his developmental goal, getting those items. Now let us take another example, an Adivasi from Narmada Valley. Now Adivasi from Narmada Valley, why we have taken this example, you'll come to know, because this will help you to understand the next point also. These are the tribal communities living in forest areas, and their life is very hard and they are not doing any job. Now suppose the government plans to take up their lands for some developmental projects which the government is planning, creation of dam, or laying down the railway tracks, or to set up an industry. Now if their lands are encroached, these people will be displaced from that area. So whenever they are displaced, so these people are always disturbed that anytime the government may take up their lands. Now what can be their developmental goals? Now this type of people may think of that government should not displace them, or if it will be good if they can get their own land, permanent one, and if they can get some job. So we have seen that different categories of people have different developmental goals. So children, one thing you have understood here, that every group of people, they are demanding something which is totally based on income. Finally, they want to improve their economic condition. They want to enhance their income. So we cannot deny the fact that income is one very important aspect in man's life, and the development of an individual also can take place with the help of income, because they can buy the necessities of life and they can have better living conditions. So this is one criteria. Now the second one is, I'm coming to the second one, what may be development for one may not be development for the other. The second point. Now here I will take the example of Adivasi community, which I have just now explained. Now what happens in this case? There are large number of developmental projects the government is planning. And whenever the government plans such projects, sometimes they are encroaching the lands of these people, the people living in the forest areas, the farmers, the village people. Now, what happens in this case? The government wants these developmental plans for the development of the nation. Many rich industrialists, rich farmers, they will definitely benefit by these projects. But at the same time, there is one community who may be sufferer. They are the tribal belts, the tribal communities. Now, they may come up with they may come up with their opinion, they may protest against such projects. So, when they protest against such projects, the developmental goal of the government becomes a conflicting goals. Now, here there is a question also, what are conflicting goals? So, what happens in this case? The conflicting goals, always these goals are settled down by the law courts. The third organ of the government, that is judiciary, the Supreme Court, the matter goes there and the things will be settled down there. But mostly these development projects, the decisions are taken on the basis of that if these projects are benefiting larger mass, for the greater good of the society, the projects are acceptable most of the time. But at the same time, the Supreme Court may come up with some solution for these people, those who will be adversely affected. So this is one point, children. We have, I'll again tell you, that is two characteristics of development. One is different people, different goal. Second one is that what may be development for one may not be development for other. Here we have given the example of conflicting goals. Now the third one is, it is not only income, people look for mixed goal. People look at mixed goals. Now what are these? Let us discuss about that. The third one is, people look at mixed goals. Now, beside income is no doubt one of the very important aspect in man's life. But at the same time, there are other things also which are equally important. So we can keep income as a materialistic things, and that is the social factors we can keep under non-materialistic things. Now these can be equal treatment, freedom, security, respect, and that is good living conditions. All these are important goals in man's life, because quality of life depends not only on income, but at the same time the other things also which we can keep under non-materialistic things. So money or material things that can buy with it, we can buy so many things with it, is one factor only. Life, the quality of life depends upon non-materialistic things that just now I have mentioned. Now here we will quote two examples, children. One is, I'll take examples from you only, like you just think how important your best friend, your friends in your life. If your best friend if your best friend will not talk with you, and you may not be very much focused in your studies, you may not concentrate in your studies because your best friend is not talking to you. Similarly, your parents are also important in your life. Their love, affection towards you, we cannot measure them, but that matters a lot. That can disturb one's life. So the quality of life depends upon all these non-materialistic things also. Now, another example from your textbook we are going to take, that is, if you get a job far off place, before accepting the job, you will consider many factors. सबसे पहले तो आप देखोगे कि इनकम किस में ज़्यादा है, that is important. But at the same time, in order to choose the job, you will also see the other factors, like how is the working atmosphere, opportunity to learn, whether you will be able to give time to your family, whether the job is permanent or not. So that is job security. But you have seen another job. However, you may have another job where you may not get high income, but other facilities are there. So many times you will prefer to accept that job only. So job security all are very, very important. So we can conclude that non-materialistic things, again with this example we have understood that non-materialistic things matters a lot. Similarly, when women, they also work outside, so they will also prefer to work in those institutions, organizations, not only where they get income, but also where there is safety, security, and other facilities are provided to them. Now we conclude. So here we have, I conclude this, the three characteristics of development. Again, I am repeating. The first one is different people, different developmental goals. Second one which is development for a person may not be development for other. Third one, people look at mixed goals, income, that is materialistic and non-materialistic things. Now coming to the next topic, children, that is national development. Till now we discussed more about individual, but finally we are proceeding to the country only, national development. If I ask you, what is nation? If I ask you, what is national income? आप बोल दोगे income of a nation. But country is not earning. Then we are here mentioning about the people of the country. So each and every person, their contribution, their income is the national income, and that can lead to the national development. So national income is the income of all the residents of a country. Those who are living here, the total income is the national income. Now if I ask another question, that what can lead to the progress of a nation, how our nation can progress? So you may come up with so many ideas. Some may say better industries. Some may feel that agricultural sector, because India is an agrarian country, so government should invest more money in the agricultural sector, so farmers will able to produce more. Some may suggest there should be more schools, there should be better educational facilities. Some may feel better healthcare facilities. Some may also suggest that, ma'am, unemployment problem should be tackled. Yes, all these points are very important. Everyone's point is very relevant. So we have different notion of development even in case of national development. Different people may have different opinion and suggestions for the development of a nation. Now, developmental goal of a nation. Now children, in page number 7, you will find one source is there. Kindly go through it and read that nicely, and there are some questions. Try to solve those questions also. We are going to the next topic now. National development, just now I have discussed what is, that we have tried to give some of the points which can lead to the national development. Now, how to compare different countries or states? because right now we are trying to classify the countries. You all know that countries are classified under two heads: developed countries and developing countries. So we will try to understand what is the criteria, being devised to classify the countries. It is just like a classroom where we have different types of categories. We make different categories for comparing, but first we have to find out for what purpose I want the children. Suppose I want to form a cricket club, then I'll take the children, those who are interested in cricket match. Then again, if I want to form a debate club, I have to see the children, those who are interested, they can join that club. So always we have to see we have to first know the purpose, and then we have to form the groups. The healthiest student may not be the most studious one. The most intelligent student may not be the very friendly. So how do we compare students? The criteria we may use depends on the purpose of comparison. So we have to find out the purpose, and then we can decide the criteria. We use different criteria to choose a sports team. अगर हमें स्पोर्ट्स टीम चुनना है तो we have to lay down some criteria. A debate team, music team, or to organize a picnic. So we have seen that we have to choose the criteria for all round progress of the children in the class. Like if you see the report card, you will find that gives the clear picture of all round development of a child, starting with their academics, that is the marks in 6 major subjects. Then you will find that is your behavior, your attitude, then the health report, then finally the CCA activities where you have participated, or your the marks and the grades. So finally the report card is giving us picture of all round development of a child. But now we are proceeding to the nation. We are not interested in individual development. In this particular chapter, we are going to focus in country only. So we are again coming to the nation. Now, leaving that apart, let us talk about the national development and how we can compare the countries. So one way of comparing the countries by seeing the income of the nation. Now, income of the nation, I said. Now, which income? The total income of the country. So when we take this criteria, that is income, the total income of the nation, then there are some limitations, because India with huge population, the total income may be too much. But at the same time, if we take another country, Maldives, Switzerland, their total income will be less because the population is not much. So the total income is not giving, it is not a good idea to compare the countries. So for comparison, the income is not such an useful measure since countries have different populations. So comparing total income will not tell us what an average person is likely to earn in the country. So we take average income. Now here there will be a question, what is average income and per capita income? Average income is only called as per capita income. But how to find out average income? Average income, in order to obtain average income, we have to divide the total income by total population. So the average income is also called as per capita income. I hope it is clear to you. All these points, children, there we have come across many objective questions. All are important. Then we are moving, that is how through income criteria the countries are classified. Now you will find this method, income criteria, is devised by the World Bank. In World Development Report 2006 brought out by the World Bank, it classifies countries on the basis of average income. Now the data which are given here, this is too old one, so I have tried to find out some new data based on 2019, and kindly you have to update these data. Countries now according to this criteria, we can divide the countries or classify the countries into 4 group: higher income, upper middle class, lower middle group, and then low income countries. Sorry, it is countries. The upper middle country, lower middle country, and low income group countries. So higher income group में at least that is the countries, the average income is $12,375 per annum. The upper middle class $3,996 per annum. The lower middle class $1,026 per annum, and below that is the low income group. So this is the income criteria, and in your book also something given here. It is based on 2004 data, but if you are writing this, then you have to mention the year. It won't be wrong if you are mentioning the year. If you are not updating yourself, it will be always good you update these datas. India comes in the category of low income countries because its per capita income is very less. In 2004 it was just 28,000. So now you will find out the present per capita income of our country. Now this is, I'm giving one homework. Now children, as I said, that World Bank classifies countries on the basis of average income. But in average income also there are some limitations. Before I go to that, let me discuss how we compare countries on the basis of average income. For this, just see your textbook. There is a table given here. Now I will here 2 countries are taken, country A and country B, under the assumption that populations are only 5 people are living in each country. So their monthly income of a citizen, country A, the first citizen getting 9,500, second one 10,500, third one 9,800, fourth one 10,000, and fifth one 10,200. Now you see country B, citizen 1, citizen 2, citizen 3, citizen 4, all are getting 500 each one. And then the fifth citizen is 48,000. So if you are given an opportunity to choose any of the country where you would like to reside, definitely you will prefer to live in country A. And if in country B, then you would like to be the citizen 5, isn't it? Now let us try to find out the average income in case of country A and in case of country B. Now if you total it, it comes to 50,000. Kindly do it. Country B also 50,000. And when we divide it with the total population, that is 5, it comes to 10,000. Now what happened? In country A, the average income is 10,000. In country B also, the average income is 10,000. What happened here? We have seen that average income somewhere, it hides disparities. It is not telling us how the income is distributed. See your examples. It is not telling us that in country B there are some very poor people and they need some help. So these things are not clear in average income. So I am giving one question also here. Kindly do this question. The question is, What are the drawbacks of average system? Number one is it is affected by the size of population of a country. If a country has a huge population, its per capita income will be low. If huge population and large number of people are living below the poverty line, then the income will be, per capita income will be less. It does not tell us about the distribution of income inside the country, how the people are living, their standard of living, that is not very clear. Thirdly, it does not tell us anything about the availability of other facilities which are also important, like healthcare facilities, educational facilities, public facilities. Whether they are availing that or not, that is not very clear in this system, that is income method of classifying the countries. So it hides the disparities. It is every system is good for comparison, but when we classify the countries, we come across such problems. Now children, this is what I have taught you here, but there is a second classification. So average, that is World Bank's classification is not much acceptable, it is not acceptable. So there is the second one which is being suggested by UNDP, that classification is only accepted. So in my next class I am going to discuss the other classification. Till then children, keep doing your work. I hope everybody is very serious about their work assignment which is being given to them. If you have any problem, any doubt, please don't hesitate. You can contact me, you can clarify your doubts, and in case you have some problem which you have come across, then kindly note it down. You can always discuss that once the school reopens. And till then, take care. Thank you.